Hey,
Sure.
everybody. Nice to see you again. This is Chris Baker Jr., your host of the podcast Tell Me Your Story. Today's special guest, I'll let her tell her name for you.
Hi, my name is Nadira Hussain, and I wrote a book called My 20 Years Experience as a Nanny.
Now, today, we are telling her story. So we're going to jump right
Yeah.
into this, like we always do. Where does it begin? Where does life start for you? Where'd you grow up at?
I'm actually from Guyana. I came here 92.
92.
Yes.
Now, did you live there? How long did you live there? When did you come
In
to the
Guyana,
States? When did you come to America?
I came here 92.
92.
Yes.
And how was that? How was the culture shock? Was it
In my country, the culture is because I'm a Muslim. So I was raised as a Muslim.
nice?
Yeah.
How was your experience when you first came to America?
I mean, I would tell you it was hard. I had a hard time. I never experienced snow. We doesn't have snow in my country. I had never flew on an airplane anywhere. That was my first time flying, but it was fine. Like I just just went on the airplane. I never went on the escalator either for the first time, but everything went smoothly.
Well, I can only imagine, because my wife is the same way with the escalators. She's afraid to go up them. Are you
Yeah.
now? My question for you is: Are you an elevator person? Can you ride the escalator?
I sometimes I like the exercise to go up and down if I don't have to. So I would if I have to, I would take the escalator.
Nice, nice.
Yeah. It's quicker. You just get up on it and you go.
And everybody's always afraid it's gonna suck them under.
My mom is very terrified about the escalator.
I'm like, yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's like it's not that bad. It's actually kind of peaceful. You just ride
Yeah,
on up.
yeah,
It just takes you. It's like an elevator. You get on that step and you just go keep on going.
yeah. Scare you up. Yeah, I'm afraid of anything. I just when I saw it, I didn't know what was it. It's like moving stairs. That's what it reminds me of.
Was it weird when you first saw it though?
Yes, because I didn't know what it was, but I looked and I pay attention to see everybody was going on it. So I said, "Oh, I have to go on that too." So I climbed on and went
No, you
on.
said it was your first time flying. How was that?
Yeah. It was a little bit nerve-wracking because I was leaving my entire family back there, and I was coming to live with my dad's sister. So it was kind of sad because I had my sister younger, so I was the oldest child for the family. So kind of sad leaving because I never left my family before.
Can you kind of explain to like anybody that's listening right now? Can you kind of explain to them like what it was like just leaving your family? Like how was the
It,
conversation and everything?
it was hard. It was very, very tough leaving them because my two younger brother they were crying so hard. I remember clearly like yesterday because we grew up very poor in a very little house, and my two younger brother couldn't come to the airport, and that was the hardest thing to say goodbye to me because I'm not sure I was going to make it back to Guyana.
And then once
But
you
I become a citizen. I went back there a few times, but America is my home now.
yes, and how does that feel?
It feels good. I have a 21-year-old daughter. I have a 10-year-old son. So, it's good. Actually, you get used to it. The cold is get to you because I'm 52 now. So it's really hard at this point, like with the snow. But hey, you live in America. You got to deal with the life here.
Yes, I mean you're in a
It's a tough life. Trust me. When you get a chance and you read my book, you will know my entire story. What How I survived everything in my life. I had a hard, tough life.
well. Let's dig into that. Let's let the audience know what it was about. Like how was life? Let's
Well, when I came here, I'll explain a little bit. When I came to America, I only had a high school education. So that was hard. And when I left Guyana, my family was Muslim. So girls didn't had any kind of like to go places and do things off their own. I never know how to drive until I came to America. And when I came here and I lived with my aunt, it wasn't the easiest either. it was hard because they didn't like take me out to places and introduce me to stuff, and it was hard. So I lived with them in Brooklyn, and it was horrible. It was horrible. I sometimes I don't like to think about it, but it's good to talk about it. It was really horrible to live with them. If I didn't move out, I just felt like I was going to be raped. So I moved out and I came and lived with my uncle in the Bronx because I live in Brooklyn. I couldn't take it anymore. So when I left there and come and live with my uncle, my dad, my mom brother, and I lived with them for there for a while. So I left them behind and I came there and I live and I branched off of my own. And it was good living with them because I had a little bit more of a freedom.
Yes.
And then it was get complicated, so I went to live with my aunt, and then it was kind of tough there living with my aunt too. And then I met a friend, and she said to me that if you want to become a nanny, you can save more money, because at that point I was working at a factory and it was hard and we weren't making a lot of money. It was like 300 and something dollars. So every 2 weeks you would get paid. And then after that, I met her and she said, if I find something, I'll help you to get a job, and you would save money so that way you don't have to take the train or anything. And I said, okay. So I got a call from her and she said, oh, I have this family wants to meet you. I had no knowledge of babysitting kids over here. I didn't had no reference, anything. So she said, just go. So I went, and when I went for the job interview, the lady liked me and she said, can you work for us? And I said, sure. So I start working as a nanny from then.
That is incredible.
And I live in with them, and it was really good, but it was kind of boring. But at that point I didn't know how to drive. And then I met friend like my own culture, and she said to me, she goes, Nadira, you have your green card, and why don't you go learn how to drive? But coming from another country here is terrifying because you have to learn the road. And um I mean, I know how to speak English, but like I know how to read, but certain things you don't understand. You know what I mean? And then I live in with them for 1 year, couple months, and the kid was not being nice to me. He hit me, and I didn't want to stay anymore. And I find another job and I move on. But the job was a little boy, and then he was so sweet, so nice. I remember him like yesterday when I left. And then I got pregnant with my daughter and I left, and he was crying so bad, so bad. But I didn't come back. Anyway, I had another part-time job while I was working with this family. I used to work weekend with them. And um and then I said, I couldn't go back because I was very sick with my daughter, because I was 30 at that point. And after I leave the job, I stay home for a little bit, but I continued to work with this other job, the weekend job. And then she asked me, she said, Nadira, would you like to come and work for me full time? And I said, sure. And was pregnant and I still went to work for her. I was very, very sick. And I was very nervous to tell her that I was pregnant. So I was 6 months pregnant, because at that time when nanny get pregnant, they're not allowed to. Some people get fired. And I didn't want to be fired because I couldn't afford to take care of my daughter. And anyway, I continued working, and I told her that day that I was going to go to get my citizen. She was all excited and stuff. And then I said, I didn't know how I to tell her at this point. And when I went to swear in to get the citizenship, I passed out on the line. So I had to end up in the emergency room.
You passed out.
Yeah, because I was so sick. I was very, very sick. So I ended up in the emergency room. Anyway, I came home that afternoon. I said to myself, I have to tell her the truth because I can't hide it anymore. Anyway, I went to work that day and I explained to her I was so terrified and nervous to lose my job. And that one day she said, Nadira, I wouldn't fire you, I would keep you because I like you. I said, okay. And I was happy. So she said, you can work until you give birth. I said, thank God, so at least I can save up some money to for my daughter. Anyway, I worked, and up to when I ready to give, one day she called me and she goes, oh, Nadira, I have something to tell you. And in that time my heart was skipping a beat because I felt like she was going to fire me, because what to expect. She goes, no, that I'm going to give you $500 baby shopping, pick whatever you want. I was so happy. So she took me to Bye Bye Baby and she gave me a $500 baby shopping. and that helped. And then I worked with her till I gave birth. And after I gave birth, I came back and I worked for her for it. But it didn't work out because she was giving me a hard time. And I stay home with my daughter for a little bit, and then I find another job and start working. And after that, it's get complicated,
Uh-oh.
very complicated. My daughter was born, and she was like 8 months, or I think she was a year because I can't remember everything. Her dad was seeing another woman.
Oh no.
Yes. And as you read the book, tears would come out your eyes what I had to went through as a nanny. So he was actually married to another woman in my country, and I didn't know. We were just living home, and he said he wasn't going to come back.
Hold on,
And I
hold on.
said, okay.
Let's
Huh?
let's kind of go back a little bit.
Okay.
Where did you guys meet? How did you meet him?
I met him. We were working at a factory. I was working at a factory, and I met him there. And in my culture, this it's a thing. Say you have to marry your own kind, and he was my kind of culture. He was West Indian like myself. I'm actually married to an American now, so it's totally different. So as we get to Lud, I'll tell you more about that lifestyle.
Okay.
Anyway, he used to hit me and stuff like that.
No.
And yeah, he used to hit me and stuff like that. And so anyway, long story make it short, I'll just make that short. He moved out, so it was just me and my daughter. Had no job at that point. It was horrible. I didn't had any job. And anyway, I pray I didn't turn to drugs or alcohol or anything. My daughter was 1 year old. um and I pray and I said, I'm going to get another job, and I have to take care of her myself. And I had a little car to pay the insurance, and I had a few $100 in my bank account, but I managed to make it. And as time goes by, I got a job and I take care of her.
And like, what was it
I take
like in that time
I took her
period?
for 10 years by myself. I took care of myself. I had to go to court and fight with him and stuff like that. But I did take care of her on my own for 10 years.
And then kind of like explain, just go into detail with the struggle, what it was like.
Well, being a nanny, it's a very, very tough job. It's not an easy job. So anyway, I had few jobs here and there where it's like from 8 to 6. So some of them ended because they didn't need you anymore. I had this one really job. It was really good. I'd go home and help her out, and I would have a babysitter help me out with her. And then I had another job that was great, and then that ended, and then I find another job in Rye, which and I stayed with the family for 4 years, and I couldn't do it anymore. That was really, really, really tough. I couldn't tell you how I cry sometimes. It was very, very demanding. It took a toll on my daughter. It did take a toll on her. She said, "Mommy," she was so sick, and she told me, "I didn't want to say anything to you. That I'm afraid Miss Amanda going to be yell at you." So it was in between those times, but all those times I didn't give up. As a mom, I did not give up. I try to do my job every day and come home and have a good face to go back to work and take care of my daughter.
And I imagine now, as your daughter is older, she really looks up to
Yeah, she's
you.
21.
She
She's
really like
21
looks
now.
up to you, and she probably resembles you now, and
Well,
goes
yes,
after
I'll
some
send
work
a
ethic.
picture. I'll send you a picture to see what she looks like now. She's a good girl because I said to her, and she knows part of it, how I raised her, and she write a whole essay one time, and she said how my mom struggled in life, and she totally understand, and she's such a good girl. She doesn't give me a hard time. She's in college. She go and she come back and she helped me with my son because my son has Down syndrome, so it's really hard. And she's such a good sister to him.
Yeah, and that's what I'm just thinking. Like, you know, you went through that struggle, and you managed to raise the child by yourself. And
Yes,
then
yes,
I mean, now she's in college and she's living life.
right.
All that hard
Yes,
work paid off.
yes, yes. She's going to school to become an interior designer, and I'm very proud of her too. I mean, she never turned to drugs or cigarette or alcoholic. She never followed a bad friend. She had few friends, really, really, really good. I can't tell you how good she was. That and like I tell her, I said, I pray. There's nothing better than praying. And I the other day she got a flat, and I said, Natalie, I said, I'm a strong mom, and she said, I know that.
How does it feel though? I mean, did you think at
Um,
times when you were going through the struggle, did you think you weren't going to make it, or did you always have that strong faith that I'm going to get through
I
this?
did. I'm a girl like this. I'm a survivor. This is only icing on the cake of my story. You got to hear more about it. I wouldn't have been live on my life to talk to you. I had a guy put a knife to my throat, and because I'm just telling you part of what went on. I had a guy put a knife to my throat, and I said to him, I said, I rather you kill me than have sex with me.
Wow.
Yep. I
And
said it. I had a guy. I went out one time to dinner, and had a guy. We went to dinner, and I had nightmares about it. I tell my husband sometimes, and he goes, "Wow." And I went to dinner with him, and when we were having dinner, I had a drink, and I'm not a big drinker,
mhm,
and so I had one drink, and then he left, and I didn't know why because I didn't think he would do that. At that time, you're stupid, you're young, you don't understand. Then he came back, and then he goes, oh, you want another drink? I said, sure. And I drink the drink. When I drink the drink, I think I eat a little bit, and I didn't know where I was. I was so drunk. Took me to a hotel to have sex with me,
he roofied
to
you?
rape me. He didn't. I fight. I said, you're not having sex with me, no way. I screamed so hard. I said, get me out of here. I was so drunk, but I still fight. I'm a fighter. I fight him off. Nope. He took his clothes off, and he was trying to get my clothes off. Like he was got me on the bed. I never forget him trying to take my clothes off. And I said, no. I said, you take me back home. I did not ask for this. I said, we were supposed to go to dinner and go home back, not to go to a hotel. It was horrible.
It
And
sounds like it.
I got home, and I was telling my cousin, and no, I didn't tell her at that same point. I got home, my head was spinning like this. It's probably like a rape drugs that I didn't know about.
And that's what you're pretty much describing is like you had that drink and you couldn't remember nothing. You just, you blacked out for a minute, and then when you came back
Yeah,
to reality, you were in a hotel room and he was
yeah,
undressing himself. So I imagine he probably spiked the drink. He roofied you.
yeah,
He slipped a
yeah.
little
But
something in your drink.
yes, yes. And I told my husband, he goes, you could have called the cops on him. But I said, it's, like now it's against your word against him. You know what I mean? They wouldn't believe you. So I've been through tough times, very, very tough times, but I managed to survive it. So that's why I want to tell my story. As a mom, as a nanny, don't give up in life. Keep going. Keep going. And the one thing you don't do, and that's what I didn't do, and some people would not be able to turn to drugs or alcohol because it's not going to help you.
And that's what I was saying in my last podcast that I had is a lot of times that's what we do turn to is we try to fill
Yes,
that hole in our hearts with drugs, with sex,
yes,
We try to fill
yes,
that need, that want. But really there's only one thing that can fill that.
yes. Yeah, but I was after what happened with, well, that was before my daughter was born, and after what happened with her father, that's a whole nother time we would have to talk about that. It's horrible. Um, After that one time he left, and it took me a long time. I was very, very afraid of dating because I was very protected over my daughter. Everyone's like, "Oh, you're getting old, you're getting," I goes, "No. I'm just gonna be there for my daughter. I don't want somebody to come in my life and rape her or do anything because I was afraid for my own self what I went through." And so I, make sure she know everything. And she was 10 at that point. You know what I mean? So I said, it's time for me to move on with life and, live my life. I would explain to her, but I got to move on.
And then like yeah, let's kind of dig into that a little bit. So your dating scene, like after you everything you went through with your the husband that you were with that you divorced, and then it was pretty much you were saying it was hard afterwards because you had such a wall built up with your
Yes.
daughter and you couldn't move on. You couldn't trust
No,
anyone because of everything that
no.
you built within that
Yeah,
relationship.
yeah, I had very, very, very trust issue with men. And then I live on to trust again because you can't live with that fear for the rest of your life. You have to be able to to pass that. So I tried to pass that. And when I started to date, when I was 40, when I'm 39, when I met James, and I sit down and I tell him part of my life, and I said, I have a daughter, and it's really hard for me to go out and date. And I explained to him and tell him what I went through in life. And we talk about it before we get married. I say, I have a daughter, and I have really trust issue with men, and if anything happened, you touch her or anything, that kind of thing. And I always would tell my daughter. And he become a really good dad to her. Like, he's such a good dad. They have their if and but he's there for her. He was always there for her. Like, when I couldn't be there for pick her up from school, he'll pick her up and that kind of thing. So, he was there. He raised her pretty much. He was there at graduation. We talk about college, and teach her how to drive, but her dad didn't do that for her.
Was her real dad in the picture at all, or did he just?
No, when she was 1 year old, I was never legally married to him. We were living home. So he was legally married to another woman in my country, and he brought her here. And actually, that wasn't the only thing. This is like a love triangle. So it would make a good story. He was actually with me, living with me, had my daughter. He was having sex with another woman, and then he bring his wife to America, and he was living with her.
You want to dig into that? Want to talk about that?
Oh, sure. So, after he moved out from the apartment with me, because he said he wasn't coming back, um, I didn't know he was seeing someone else. So, I had a job. I just had got a job, and then I went to work. So, it was kind of odd that he just picked up and left. In my head, I didn't think that he would do something like that, because sometimes you don't think at that point. So anyway, one day he left and he gone, and I went to work, and I was talking to my friend, and I said, this is my story. And the one of the nanny said to me, she goes, why don't you call out for the readout of the phone? But she said you would have to pay. And at that point, I didn't have a lot of money, but I just wanted to know. I call out for the readout of the phone bill at that time. You have the home line. When I did, I noticed some number that I didn't make the phone call. I did call a number. And she said to me, she said, oh, I don't know. It's wrong. She doesn't know what I'm talking about. I said, listen, I have a child for this guy, and I would like to know if you and him know each other. And she said, no, no. I called back again. I said, listen, please tell me. Anyway, what she did, she said, yes, come to my house. I went to her apartment. I was brave. I went to her apartment, and she said, listen to me. You didn't know over a year he was cheating on you. I said, are you serious? She said, yes, but I kind of noticed that one time in bed, he smelled like a different woman perfume. And he was mad at me. Like, he hit me, punched me that day. And he said, what are you talking about? I said, all right. So I kind of like ignored, because I didn't want no fight and argument over my daughter. Anyway, so I went over. When I went over, the lady continued to tell me how he was sleeping with her and what kind of underwear he was wearing and that. And I said, really? She said, if she had known, she would have been bring me to the apartment and hide me and have him come in and caught him right there and then. So then she decided to tell me. She said, listen, you see where he live right now, go to the basement apartment. He's living there with his wife and kid. I said, are you serious? She said, yes. When I went over there, I'm going to tell you blunt like it is what happened. So I went over there and knocked at the door. He grabbed my daughter, grabbed my shirt, ripped my bra and my shirt on. I had no bra on. Had to cover myself. Outside it was cold. Anyway, and he was angry because he didn't want anyone to know what was going on. Anyway, I and his wife was there, and I said, give me back my shirt to put it on. So finally his parents come down, and he gave me my shirt, and I put it back on, and I left. Then when I left, I went home and I packed all his stuff what was left there, and I bring it back and I give him to him at his apartment. I hadn't bring my daughter back. I bring my cousin. I was driving his car at that point, and he picked up like an iron, like a metal thing, and he hit the back of the car, and he break the windshield up.
What?
Yes, break the windshield. Back windshield was break, crack, was like a big hole in it. But I couldn't do anything because it wasn't my car. It was his car.
So he kind of just messed his own car up. So it's
Yeah, I did take him to the precinct and I explained to them what happened, and they said they can't do anything, but I can file a restraining order against him. So I did. and then we went to court, and then child support and stuff like that. But he was never in her life, never. He wouldn't come see her. With the money go through the court, and that was it. And
Now,
there was some.
was it kind of like tough, when your daughter would ask about her father?
She really never asked about him because she's a quiet child. But I would tell her, and once in a while, I mean, I remember like when it was her birthday or Christmas, he would stop by to just see her for like 10, 15 minutes, and that's it. So she know he was never there for her. So she learned to live without a father.
Now, has she had any like, hard times with like relationships at all in her life? Or
Well, she dated one guy, and she felt like he was very like controlling, and she left him. So that was it. She hasn't dated any guy anymore. And I said, Natalie, you're doing the right thing. Go to school and take your education, and then when you have your own money, you can build your own future. Nobody can tell you anything. So right now she's not dating anyone. She's just going to school and take her education and finish up college.
have you ever like talked to her one on one about that at all? Like just dating in general? Or
If I talk to her about it or she discuss it with me.
well, yeah. The reason what I'm getting at is because like not growing up with a father in her life, it
Uh-huh.
sometimes it could damage a person. Like you said, you had trust issues, and
Yes.
that could be a huge on her too. She could not trust
Well,
men.
yeah, well, she never really discussed anything with me about that. I never asked her about it, but that's a good question. Maybe I'll ask her one day. I mean, how she feel about that. Maybe I would, but she did had a boyfriend, and she said he was kind of controlling. She would go out with her other friend them, and they would go ice skating. And I remember one day she came home and she said to me that um mommy, I don't trust him anymore because he's like he doesn't he just was very controlling over her friends. Like, and she said, I can't deal with this. So she decided to say, let it go. And I said, okay. But I never like ask her anything. Sorry about that. That was my husband calling.
It's okay. Does he know?
Because he knows I am home, but actually I sit outside in the car because I didn't want it to disturb. So I didn't, I left him in the house.
Okay, I got you. And you said it's pretty covered in snow out there in New York.
Yes, it is. It's really covered in snow. But I want to talk a little bit more about, my story. That's not half of it. That's just the icing on the cake. So maybe another time when you wanted to talk more about the
Oh,
story.
I got plenty of time. we could get. Let's
I
go.
know, but
Let's keep
I would
going.
have to go in inside and help him out with my son because my son give him a hard time sometime.
All right. How much time do you have actually? It's
Let's see what time is it now?
5:40.
Okay, like another 10 minutes. I'll talk another ten
Okay, another
minutes.
10 minutes. All right.
Yeah, so that's my life, that's my story, and there's more to it. It's just not that's that, you know what I mean? It's just living in America. It's a tough life, and actually married to my husband and moved to Connecticut, that wasn't easy either because I had to go through life with his family too. And but I managed. I still managed to live on my life with him.
Yeah, kind of like what was it like coming to? I kind of let's go way back to when you first came here and you were living in Brooklyn, New York. How was that? How was life growing up there?
I didn't live there for very long because the way I was treated by my family there. I didn't really go anywhere. I didn't really do anything. It was just horrible. Horrible. I'm telling you. I mean, like I'll tell you one story. I went to a wedding. I was going to a wedding with my cousin, and you know what she did? She took a razor blade and she cut my dress.
What?
Yes, yes, she did. And that day I came home and she was talking on the phone and she goes, "Oh, somebody dress gonna fall down tonight." And so I said, "Let me go." I'm very like aware of things. So I went and I look at my dress and the strap was cut with a razor blade.
Now, was she trying to set you up on a date or something? Or
No, no, nobody couldn't call at the house. She would say, "Oh, meet her on the street and talk to her." She was very I don't know how to explain what she was, but She was not nice to me at all. Not nice. She cut the dress. That mean if I was dancing or I was partying that night, the dress would have fallen off, and I would have, embarrassed. Put it that way.
Yeah.
So, and then her dad, I was going up the stairs, and one night her dad grabbed me on my leg,
Really?
and yes, and like there were other cousin there who it was horrible things he said to me, and I said, I can't stay here because I feel like I'm gonna be raped
Yeah.
by my own family, so that's why I moved out.
Well, that's a good reason to leave, not feeling safe at
Yeah.
all.
No, no, no. It just was. I feel like I wanted to go back to my country, but my dad is an alcoholic. He's an alcoholic, put it that way. And I said to myself, I grew up with an alcoholic father. He hits my mom. It was horrible growing up. Um, I don't want to go back there. So I might as well just struggle and stay here because be honest with you, what I know now, and I learned how to drive and that kind of thing as a woman in my country, you're not allowed to drive at that time when I grew up.
Really?
Yes. Yeah. You're not allowed to do certain things because remember I come from a Muslim country and they pick your husband too. So it was hard. And they had picked some guys and stuff for me then, but I didn't like it because I saw who my dad was as an alcoholic. Beat my mom up right in front of us.
I'm just thinking about just a little bit of what you're telling me about your own country, and I'm just myself
Yeah.
thinking like, I don't know if I could do it. I don't know if I could live over there.
No, no. It's like a little bit different now, but be honest with you, I didn't go back too much time. I just went back a few times. I took my daughter a few times, but she didn't like it. She was crying. She said, Mommy, this is not my home. I want to go back. And she had all these bites in her skins from mosquito and ants. So she doesn't like it. So I only took her like twice and I never took her back. But I never took my son because he has special need and it's hard to travel with him. So um it's hot there, so and my husband wouldn't like really like it, so we never went back since he was born.
And yeah, with your son, I imagine they probably don't have a lot of the medical equipment that he needs.
Correct. Yes, yes, yes. So so that's what it is, so that's why I want to bring my story to light, as a mom, as a nanny, what I went through in my life, and I wanted to tell people that don't give up in life. Keep fighting for yourself, and don't turn to drugs and alcohol, but sometimes you can't tell people what to do. They have a mind of their own.
You know, Go ahead and tell the audience right now, the people that are listening right now at home watching this, what is your advice to them? Go ahead and tell them.
My advice as a mom, as a single mom, as a nanny, my advice is to them: don't give up. Sorry about that.
You're okay.
That was my husband. Yeah. Don't ever give up. Just try your best as a mom. As myself, as a single mom raising my daughter, I did a great job. I have a friend. She always used to talk. She said, Nadira, I always admire you as a single mom, how you raise your daughter. And as a nanny, I dealt with it because I had demand to come home. Someday I cried and I come home, but I get up and I had a smiling face. Like the family said to me, she always said, she goes, Nadira, you never come here with complaint or anything. Even though I have it, I keep it to myself. I never give up. I go there and I do my job and I go home. I all I wanted to do to take care of my daughter and myself.
Very good.
Yeah.
Um, as we wrap this thing up for part one,
Yes.
that way you can get up there and get taking care of your boy and help your husband out. Um, Anybody that's watching right now, they want to find your book. Where can they find your book, and what is it called?
Amazon. It's Amazon. It's on Amazon. I like to turning it into a documentary story someday, or a TV show or a movie. So I'm hoping that I cross my finger that I would love to do that, and turn into a series. Whatever I can get help with out there, I just want to.
What is the title of your book?
It's called My 20 Years Experience as a Nanny. I send a picture to you. You remember the cover? Did you get it?
Yeah, yeah. I was just talking
Yeah.
like if anybody's listening right now that they want to know
Yes. Well,
where to find your book.
it's called My 20 Years Experience as a Nanny.
Okay. Um, if anybody wants to reach out to you, how do they get a hold of you?
I can give them my number. Is that okay?
How about just an email?
Yeah. Can I send it to you, or you can I say it?
Yeah, just send it through Messenger.
Yeah, I'll send it to
That way
Messenger.
nobody prank calls you all the time.
Yeah, that's true. That makes sense. I wasn't quite sure, but so that does make sense.
I don't want
I
that
can
happening
send
to
it
you.
to. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Weird people call me, right?
People calling you, saying weird stuff.
Yes, yes.
We don't need
But
that.
let's wrap it up. Yes, and if you want to talk any more time, I'm happy to go a little bit more further with the story and let you know.
Of course, I'd love to have you back on when you have some,
Yes,
when you get a little bit more time. We're just wrapping up part one of your
yes,
story.
yes. This is
So we'll have you back on again whenever,
yes,
we'll talk more about that afterwards. And
yes.
we
Well,
get,
it was nice meeting you. It was good talking to you. I really look forward to talk to you and share more of my story with you.
yeah, thank you for being on today and just telling me, just getting a little taste of the beginning of your story.
Yeah. What do you think about it so far?
So far, my eyebrows are raised. My eyebrows are raised. So look at them, they're
And I
stuck.
still, yeah, but I still have a smiling face, right?
Yeah,
Whatever I went through in my life.
and like really, what I can tell to you is like I'm proud of you for.
Thank
I
you.
mean, just from what you just a little bit of what you told me, it's awesome. I'm glad that you're still here, that you're as
Yeah,
strong as a woman as you are, and that you
yep,
raised your daughter, and she is doing, she's making smart choices herself, and it really
yeah.
shows, and I'm proud of you for that.
Thank you very much. I
Yeah.
appreciate it. So, we'll send message, and whenever I can come on again. Let me know.
Okay.
You take care. Bye.
Bye, everybody. Peace.